Good evening. I'd like to call our regular business meeting to order. And what I'd like to do, first of all, is thank Mr. Fleming and members of the Cause Chorale for being here earlier to entertain us prior to the beginning of the meeting. And the Cause Chorale is a 65-member ensemble from the Columbus Alternative High School under the direction of Mr. Fleming. The portion of the ensemble here this evening is pleased to represent the entire group and to help us celebrate Black History Month. And now, I'll ask them to join us again. The Cause Chorale is proud to present a William L. Dawson piece called Ain't That Good News. Mr. Fleming? And while they're coming in, Mr. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. President Baker?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Vice President Cole?
Here.
Ms. Gibbs?
Here.
Ms. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Peretti?
Here.
Ms. Reyes?
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Fleming, before the chorale starts, I would like to ask them to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
But wasn't that wonderful? Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Thank you to the Cause Chorale. All right, so as they file out, I'd like... Is he here? Oh, yes, and Principal Sanders not able to be here tonight from Cause, but I know he's here in spirit. Also, I'd like to let you know that General Counsel Braverman is not here this evening, and I want to thank Director Lillis for being here with us. So now I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as it has been presented. Moved and?
Second.
Seeing no discussion? Mr. Treasurer?
President Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Ms. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll just now briefly read through the agenda so we all know the work we have before us this evening. Right after we do adopt the agenda, we will hear public comment. We have one speaker this evening. We will then hear a report from the superintendent. We will then hear a report from the internal auditor, and we will then ask the treasurer if he has anything to share, after which we will take up the consent agenda, and following that discussion and approval, we will then take board announcements if there are any, after which we will recess into executive session. We will adjourn from those chambers and not return to these after we do the board announcements. So having said that, let's now entertain public comment. So the speaker, we have one speaker this evening, as I said. Comments are limited to 4 minutes, and Mr. Tennant, you've been here many times. Welcome back. Charles Tennant, speaking on the Afrocentric school, and the actions relate to reacting positively and supporting his proposal. Mr. Tennant, thank you very much for being
Thank you
here.
very much, Mr. Baker, members of the board, Superintendent, Dr. Gooden, Treasurer, and everyone here in the audience. When I come here for a purpose, and my purpose tonight again is the Afrocentric school. I've been out there on several occasions, and there'll be a large common area there, and I need your support in helping to create and erect a Nubian pyramid, one about 12 feet tall. Those of you who do not know what a Nubian pyramid is, I want you to think for a minute of San Francisco and the Transamerica building there. It's 856 feet tall. That is a Nubian pyramid. And on the premises at the new school, there is nothing that will represent Nubian. Everything is Egyptian. There'll be Egyptian pyramids. So I need your support in helping to erect a Nubian pyramid. Secondly, this is Black History Month. This is the second day of Black History Month. And I remember 56 years ago on the campus of North Carolina A&T, the sit-in demonstrations started there. It was a 10-week process. I was down there in Winston-Salem 3 months ago, and when I was in school there, blacks could not stay in any of the hotels downtown. And my wife and I, in October, stayed in a nice class hotel in the middle of downtown, a place that we could not live in or rent rooms many years ago. Thirdly, I want to thank Dr. Good for letting me borrow his secretaries. I'm talking about Stephanie Howell, Tina McClure, and Cheryl Kane. They were extremely instrumental with me in doing things at DCSC and getting them to come on board as partners with us in the coming year, and they're going to do a lot of great things with us. I want to also thank Ms. Gillison, Mrs. Marie Stockert, Dr. Michelle Klein, Ms. Downs, all of them who have been very helpful in helping to bring some things together so that we can move forward in creating the right process, the right program for the Afrocentric school before we move into this new project out here on James Road. I'm hoping that before this school is open, Dr. Good, that we can get those streets paved. They are in awful shape. Those sidewalks out there seem like they've been there since 1940. And if we can do some things like that. I also want to say to you, African history is very important, Mr. Baker. It's history that has been swept under the carpet. It's history that has been hidden. It's history that everybody should know about. And I want the public to know that the Afrocentric school is not intended to be an all-black school. It's intended for all 50-some thousand students in this school district. And I want to see it as positive, as successful as can be. I was over at the school yesterday, and I met a 10th grade girl who was in the library. And she was doing some work on the computer. And she is going to Columbus State in the 10th grade. So we need to get this in the news because we don't hear about these kinds of things. There are so many students over there that are good students that nobody hears about. And Mr. Cole, we need to do these things to get the public to know that this is not a school that is dedicated for disciplined kids. There are some highly intelligent students over there. When I'm there, I get nothing but the greatest respect from all of the kids. I want to also, again, thank Dr. Good. He took me out for my 73rd birthday. Took me to breakfast. He gave me a card, and it wasn't a card with his name on it. He wrote a message on it, and then he gave me a gift. And I just love this man, Mr. Baker. If I stayed here 3 hours, I couldn't give him enough accolades. He's a wonderful, wonderful person to work with, and we have had very candid talks, and everything that I've said to him, he has reacted to it. Dr. Good, thank you very much for everything that you've done, and Ms. Johnson, too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tennant. Thank you. Any clarifying questions for Mr. Tennant? Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. You asked about building a Nubian pyramid. Was there ever at all, or do you intend to present a design proposal with a budget? Has Mr. Oldham or Mr. Superintendent seen any such document?
Yes, I mentioned this to the superintendent, but just casually. And going out there back in September, I kept wondering what would be missing because I have the blueprint, and there will be a large common area between the gym and the academic buildings. There are two buildings. It looks like one, but there are two buildings that will be connected by a two-story glass breezeway. And coming in from building A, there will be two 7-foot pyramids that'll light up. Going into building B, there'll be two more pyramids that'll light obelisks that'll light up. And I kept wondering about outside. I know there'll be benches and be trees and tables, and I just asked God to help me find what was missing. And in December, I went out there and got out of my car and went over there and measured how far it was from the academic buildings to the gym. It's 180 feet. And while I was there, a vision of a Nubian pyramid appeared. And let me tell you, Mr. Cole, something about Nubian pyramids. The Nubians, and those of you who don't know, Nubian is a Greek word which means, it comes from the word nu, meaning gold. The Nubian people were nobles or nebos, and the country was Tarseti, which means land of the bow. The women had equal rights as men, and the queen mothers, like Amene Sugeto, who fought against in a lot of battles, rode on horses with men, and they rode on horses bareback. They were like Navy SEALs with a bow and arrow. They were jet black people. They were very positive people. And they built pyramids that were 70 degrees. It's about 240 of them. They built more than the Egyptians. And some of the pyramids were used for burial, but most of them were used for status. So I'm looking for a pyramid about 12 feet tall, to be elevated maybe 2 feet or 3 feet to keep it off of the ground, and one that you can see at night with lights to show on it, to showcase it. And I think this will be just a marvelous piece, and I've seen the vision of it, and this is what I would like to see out there, because it's the only thing that will be there that's Nubian. I don't know if any of you have been in the gym, but the gym is an NBA floor, and in the middle of the court is a map of Africa. Simply gorgeous. And when the architect walked me through and the things that I saw, I became extremely emotional. Dr. Good, if you go out there, and Mr. Baker, and you get a chance to go there, get out of your car and look at the brick on the outside of the academic building. It's a kente cloth. It's a kente cloth. The classrooms will be fantastic. It's the only building that I know of that I have researched in the United States, built from ground up, that's Afrocentric, and Columbus had it. It's not my school, it's not the Columbus City schools school. It's a school that belongs to everybody in this great city of ours. So I want that showcased. I want us to do everything possible to make it the school that it can be. I look forward to be a school that will generate a lot of visitors. I've had emails from North Carolina myself and some from Maryland. So it's, if you haven't been there, take your time and go out there and look for it, and look at the brick, and you'll see the kente cloth in it. If you don't know what a kente cloth is, I have one in my car and I'll show it to you. But it's going to be a fascinating thing, and I want to thank Dr. Good again for his support, all of his help that he has given me. If I ask him for something, he is right there. He has never turned his back on me. He is right there, and thank you again, Dr. Good. I really appreciate everything that you've done, and your staff. And
Thank
we'll
you.
get this thing together so it'll be the school that it can be. And as I told you months ago, I wanted it to be a knockout, and it is. It will be.
Thank you, Mr. Tennant.
Thank you, Mr.
We appreciate all your assistance and input and working with us on the project. Thank you very much. All right, we do not have any other public speakers this evening. So let's move on to the superintendent's report. Mr. Superintendent, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. Seems to be an evening for generosity, and thank you, Charles, for your kind remarks. I will pay you later. So first, we're going to hear from our Chief of Communications and External Affairs to give us an update on the very generous donations from our community in order for us to host the State of the District. So in one of his last official acts, we'll welcome Todd Tooney to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Good. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, and the members of the board. It's kind of with a little bittersweet of me standing in front of you now to share this, because it's such good news, similar to what we heard from the choir this evening. I mean, we had an opportunity to put on an unbelievable State of the District. I think you have remarked on it over the past couple of weeks, and I've continued to hear from the community that it was a wonderful event and that it was really showcased the thing that's most important to us all, which is our students. And so I just wanted to share with you that as a part of that good news, that the district has actually been able to raise $56,000 as a part of underwriting the entire event. And I wanted to list out the names of those sponsors just because I think it's important to acknowledge their support of Columbus City Schools and to show how many organizations contributed to the overall benefit of us being able to put the district together and not have it be a huge burden on the district as a whole. So with that said, AEP was a contributor to the State of the District. Big Lots, the Columbus City Schools Education Foundation Fund of the Columbus Foundation, Community Properties of Ohio, the Columbus Foundation, the J. Allen and Ruth Maxwell Payne Fund, Cardinal Health, Corner Cocosing Construction Company, the Columbus Schools Education Association, Fifth Third Bank, Franklin Covey, Nationwide Children's Hospital, Pizzuti, Scott Shriven, and PNC Bank, and the Columbus Education Association, and OPSI. Yep. So we had a tremendous amount of support for the Columbus City Schools State of the District event this year, and I just wanted to make sure that those were acknowledged.
Part of the board's consent agenda this evening, those donations will be received by the board officially and then entered into the ledger. And I know the board was pleased with that event. And in fact, this weekend, I finally found time to sit and actually watch the event. It is available online at our website, and I encourage you to do the same. I didn't like watching myself, but I enjoyed watching all of you. So, yes, sir.
So because Mr. Tooney will be leaving us, I just want to, on behalf of the board, thank him for his service here, and of course, wish him all the very best in his future endeavors. I don't think we'll see the last of you. I think we'll continue to partner, and I look forward to that. Thank you, Mr. Tooney.
Certainly very grateful for Todd's joining the district and continuing a relationship we began before he became a Columbus City Schools employee, and one I know that'll transcend his time with us here. So I've enjoyed our time together, Todd. I've learned from you, and I appreciate all of your efforts. So one of the things we unveiled at the State of the District was the new application, and so we would like Scott Varner to come forward and kind of walk our public through that application and show you some of those features this evening.
Well, good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. I'm excited to share with you a little bit more about the app that we launched as part of the State of the District. Now, hopefully by now, all of you have had a chance to download the app, and so it's on your phone. You can follow along, but to make it easier, I also put it on a PowerPoint so we could all see it. The app, since the launch at the State of the District, we had more than 1,000 downloads in just those first few days. So the public is quickly taking a hold of the app and putting it to good use. We made sure that it was available on both the Google and the iPhone platforms. So it's already being downloaded and used on everything from iPhones to iPads to Samsung and Google Play. So it's been great to see the launch of the app. It's really part of a greater strategic communications plan that we've put together. And we partnered with Blackboard to create this app. And it's a companion contract to the Blackboard Connect, which is our often used auto dial system. And this is important later in the presentation, but they've been a great partner to help us create the app. So it's a customizable tool that's very easy to use to stay up to date, to receive alerts and messages, to connect with resources. And we see it as a great tool for our families, especially our mobile families. As you know, often as families move, phone numbers change. But cell phones, while they may change, your apps don't. A lot of people download those same apps over and over again on their phone. So while we may not have the most immediate phone number in our resources, they'll have the app, and that allows them to stay connected. It's great for all of our staff members and stakeholders because it provides not only directory information for all of our schools, but also includes pictures in a lot of cases, so which is great for folks to know who they're meeting with. And really, it's just for anybody who has an interest in what Columbus City Schools are doing, because it offers a 24/7 direct feed of information going on about the district. It is immediately connected to all of our social media feeds. It'll provide updates anytime there are new pieces of information on our website. And it also offers messages that are from schools specifically to parents. And so we think it's a great tool to stay up to date. It also has great contact information. So each school building, we have the phone number and address if somebody's looking for a school building. We have the name of the principal and other administrators, as well as the email that you can use to connect with somebody at the school. We've set up special pages for the superintendent and for the Board of Education, which, as you can see, has contact information for each of you so that people can send messages to the email address that you've provided on the website. And it also provides instant contact to our customer relations office so that as people have questions, comments, concerns, that office can help take care of it. What's great about this tool is that you can follow your child's school. We know that as all of the information that the district shares, sometimes it can be overwhelming. If you have a child that's in one high school, you may not want to know what's going on at all 23 other high schools. You want to make sure you're getting the information that is most pertinent to you. So through the app, you can then follow just the school that your child goes to, plus get district-wide information that we share through central office here. It allows you to follow your child's school social media feed if that school has their own feed. It allows updates on activities through the calendar. And what's great is it also allows you to kind of track the feeder pattern. So as you are looking to future schools that your child might attend, you might log on and find information about those schools. Here's what's very exciting is the alerts and notifications that it provides. Whenever information is entered into the system, we can send it out as a push notification. Again, we don't have all of our parents' emails. It would be great if we had that giant list of 50, 60, 70,000 emails. But with the app, we can now reach people through their phone. We've already used it once this year when we had the snow day and had to cancel afternoon. It was the day after we launched the app, so we couldn't do the alert about the cancellation as a whole, but we could let folks know about the afternoon cancellations. So we've already used this great push notification. What's even better is in the future, it will connect directly with our auto dial system. So this is where that partnership with Blackboard really is helpful. As a principal sends out an auto dial information about something important about the school's activities, they will be able to check a box and that same information, the text of it will be sent as a push notification to parents who follow that school. One time, one entry. We wanted to make sure that we provided an app to principals that didn't require them to enter information here, enter information in another spot, then go online, information again. One place they enter information and it reaches our parents and families in a number of ways. The calendar is also a great feature. Hopefully you've had a chance to see that. It provides information about what's going on at your student's school as well as the district-wide calendar. But what's even better is that as you see information, you click at the bottom to learn more. You can add that to your own personal calendar. So how great is that? Not only can you see what's going on, but you can add it to your personal calendar so you get reminders, which is also a great feature. We are constantly looking at new features to add. Already we include a link to Infinite Campus, which will allow parents to, in the future, look at maybe the grades or information that comes through Infinite Campus. We allow to look at lunch and breakfast menus. In the future, we'll be adding a feedback form and a survey feature, so we'll be able to conduct that through the app. It is also a great connection to our community partners and the resources they provide. Already we have a link to the library, to COSI, to Nationwide Children's Hospital, to WCBE, and in the future we'll be looking to add more, including the next one will be a link to I Know I Can and the services they provide. We think the app has been a great tool and we look forward to using it more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Varner. Are there any questions, Mr. Peretti?
Thank you very much. My question was just, I guess, in the future, will we be able to link this site, a few questions, linking this up with some our transportation aspects and families get involved with what's going on with their students, bus routes, things like that?
President Baker, to Board Member Peretti, thank you for mentioning that because I failed to include that in my presentation. As you see on this slide, one of the links that we've provided to is to Bus Bulletin, which is, as you know, the tool that we launched at the beginning of the school year where a parent can sign up for text alerts about their child's bus. Again, the same concept of personalization. You may not want to know what's going on with 700 other buses, but the one that your child's on, you want to know and receive text alerts. And so, yes, it does. For now, it links through Bus Bulletin, and we may explore other ways in which we can share that information.
What about student usage? Is this going to be enhanced at some point where students will be able to utilize this and work with our different partners like the library and things like that?
President Baker, to Board Member Peretti. Again, our first target audience was our parents, but I think it's also a valuable resource for students. And maybe as we look to those different features that we add, maybe there are some very specific to our students that we want to include. Breakfast and lunch was a good one, but there may be other potentials.
One final one, I apologize. What about student-centered information? So things that would be going to the parents and things like that. Is this something that would be looked at in the future as well?
President Baker, to Board Member Peretti. As I mentioned, one of the links that's on there now is to Infinite Campus. So we're currently working with the Accountability Office and Dr. Klein's shop on how best to link that so parents can log in to get their information about their student. Yes.
Thank you.
Board Member Gibbs, I believe I saw your hand next.
Oh, thank you very much. Just wanted to give you a big shout out for the breakfast and lunch menus. When you're trying to plan what days to pack and what days not to pack, having that menu on the go when you're in the grocery store comes in very handy. Lunch is a huge deal in K-8, and just really appreciated that. And just to let you know, we move at the speed of life, the photos of the Cos Corral are on our app right now, and they just performed. And so big kudos to the team for keeping the information up to date and contemporary and relevant to what's going on. And if you haven't had that, I downloaded it as soon as it was available, and you can see schools you may not have had a chance to visit, and you really get to see how much our students and our staff are able to do. So just a big kudos to the team for pulling this together, and I look forward to the further development and then to keep it, moving information out. But the bus bulletin, excellent service. I think we've answered our parents' call for that, as well as being able to showcase our student achievements. Thank you.
Hudson?
Thank you, President Baker. Thank you, Mr. Varner. It's really, really great. I wanted to ask, timing-wise, or because it looks like there's a connected interface to our website. Will it have? In the future, will it have sort of a mobile version so that when you have the forms to fill out, they'll be bigger and that sort of. Does it have that capability?
President Baker, to Board Member Hudson, we are currently at the same time looking at improving the ability of our website to be more mobile friendly. There currently are mobile versions of the website, but some of the forms and information we have on there are not as mobile friendly as they should be. And so at the same time, we'll be kind of working to identify those things on the website that are most used so that we kind of target those first to make sure those are more mobile friendly, and then we'll look through the website. But yes, thank you. That's a very important part of it, to make sure that it's mobile friendly, because what we found is that for many of our families, they may not always have access to a laptop computer, but everybody has access to a phone. And so the ways in which we can make that phone even more useful to parents, the better.
Thank you. I do just have one follow-up. Yes, ma'am. As I was flipping through here, because we could get it out, I did notice that there was a visit with a groundhog today by Dr. Good, and I just wondered, was there an opportunity to see his shadow? What happened? Because it would be really good to have that spring come as soon as possible.
You may be sorry you asked. Mr. Superintendent?
So, President Baker, to Board Member Hudson, I did have the opportunity to spend some time with Puxatawny Phil this morning, and I accompanied Shady Lane's kindergartners to the Board of Education's Spruce Run Nature Center, which is located up on Hoover Reservoir. A wonderful, wonderful donation by a former benefactor and former faculty member at The Ohio State University. Lovely, lovely setting for students to actually see the groundhog and observe the groundhog, not observe his shadow, meaning spring should arrive within 6 weeks. So, but we had a wonderful visit. There were many stations, and the kindergartners were enthralled, and it could not have been a more glorious day. Thank you for pointing it out. I didn't know that picture was there. I need to look at it.
It mostly features the groundhog.
Good. Wisely.
Indeed. Any other questions for Mr. Varner while we have him here? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Varner.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yes, sir.
President Baker, my final note this evening, in the spirit of gratitude, to ask the board to consider 10.18, which is a very generous donation of 200 computers valued at $20,000. These are from Medical Mutual of Ohio. The majority of those computers are designated for student use across the district. There are a handful that will be used right here to replace some of the very dated hot boxes that we continue to use. And we're so very grateful to Medical Mutual. And for all of these donations, you should know that we do send a personal letter from the Board of Education and myself thanking them so that they can share that with their board and employees as well.
Thank you. All right, Madam Internal Auditor, have you anything to share with the board this evening?
Yes, I do. Thank you, President Baker. President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the Board of Education, I'm going to read the following statement that was shared at Audit and Accountability, and they agreed with my confirmation that the Office of Internal Audit is independent. The Institute of Internal Auditors Professional Standards 1100 require the Chief Audit Executive of an organization to confirm to the board at least annually the organizational independence of the internal audit activity. The Institute of Internal Audits interprets organizational independence to be in effect when the Chief Audit Executive reports to the board and the board approves the internal audit charter, the board approves the risk-based internal audit work plan, the board approves the internal audit budget and resource plan, the board approves decisions regarding the appointment and removal of the Chief Audit Executive, and the board approves the evaluation and salary of the Chief Audit Executive. In addition, the Office of Internal Audit has all of their auditors sign a statement regarding their independence, and they disclose any conflicts of interest with any upcoming jobs they may be assigned to. So based on the previous statements that I just read, I confirm the organizational independence of the Columbus City Schools Office of Internal Audit.
Thank you very much, Internal Auditor.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Chair Hudson, have you anything you'd like to share?
Thank you, President Baker. I think I would just point out, and it may seem like that was a overstatement of the obvious because that's how we've been structured, but actually it in sort of good enterprise hygiene, organizational hygiene, if you will, whether you're for-profit or nonprofit, many organizations now are adopting or including an internal audit function. There are more and more requirements under federal law for all types of enterprises. And so it really demonstrates that we are utilizing here best practices in governance with respect to those checks and balances. And so I think, and so where you may think, where else would the internal auditor report? Well, in some enterprises, it may go, the internal auditor may report to the general counsel or up through the CEO. And so our structure, that's the distinction here, is our structure is how it really is supposed to be. So just a kudos for the forethought well before any of our, my involvement, certainly, to adopt the structure and maintain it.
Thank you very much. I couldn't have said it better myself. We were an early adopter, and we're proud of that, and you have carried on the important legacy of the office, so thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Treasurer, have you anything to share this evening?
I'm sure this is good news. I have nothing other than what's
Thank
on the
you.
agenda.
We appreciate that report, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you. All right, the chair will now entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda as it has been presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion on any piece of legislation within the consent agenda? Mr. Peretti?
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could just have a quick explanation just for the listening audience, 10.1 through 10.7 from the Treasurer, dealing with some of the bond issues and financing issues, just so people understand what's on the agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Treasurer?
President Baker, to the board and specifically to Board Member Peretti, tonight you are considering 6 resolutions relative to the refinancing. We call them refundings, but they're really a refinancing of a variety of series of outstanding debt that the district has. These bonds were issued some time ago for various and assorted construction projects, and this I would liken to your home mortgage, that when interest rates fall below the rate on your mortgage, you choose to go back and refinance your home. So we are not building anything new, we're not remodeling anything. This is simply a financing mechanism. Each series that will be refunded must be covered by a resolution, hence the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 10.1 through 10.5, deals with individual series that we will refund. 10.6 consolidates 4 of those into one reissuance. And we do that because a portion of the bonds that we will refund have already been advance refunded, that is, refunded or refinanced prior to their maturity date. So we cannot do what's called that will be a forward, what we call a forward refunding. The advance refundings are ones that you do that are on a more current basis. So that we just have to separate these two because of whether the bonds were refunded or refinanced once before. As I said, we'll be doing what's called a forward transaction where we sell the bonds in, I think, late February, early March. That transaction won't settle until September, whereas on the other 4 series of bonds that are combined into one, we do what's called an advance refunding where we sell the bonds and then settle within a couple of weeks. Funds are then escrowed until the bonds can be called, and mathematically our underwriters and municipal advisor figure all of that out, and it's all certified. And it's a little bit more technical and involved than refinancing your home mortgage, but in the end, that's where we're headed. I would like to share with you that right now we did an update in current market conditions, and were we to do the transaction today and able to achieve what's been shared with me, we would save on a nominal basis about $10.6 million. Now that's spread out over the next 15 to 17 years or so, but still it's $10.6 million. Heretofore, since I've been here, we did a refinancing back in December and saved about $7.5 million, and in May we did another refinance and saved about 4.1. So that's a little, what is that, 12.2 plus this, 10.6, so well over 22 million in nominal savings that we will have saved over the next 15 to 17 years in debt service.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you very much.
Did you want me to explain as well? You mentioned 10.7. Would you like me to talk about the municipal advisor selection?
Sure.
If you'd like to, you may, briefly.
I'll wrestle you for it. Resolution 10.7 is approving the designation of a new municipal advisor and also adding a firm to our underwriting pool. Let me talk about the municipal advisor first. Municipal advisors were formerly referred to as financial advisors, but various regulatory changes have changed their name, changed all the regulations that they have to follow and registrations and reporting requirements. So they're now called municipal advisors. The district has employed, to my knowledge, a municipal advisor for at least the last 2 years. That was Fifth Third Securities, and their engagement expires as of April 1st. We went through what I would say a rigorous RFQ process. I worked with Mr. Carney in purchasing on that. And we sent out and advertised for responses last fall, received, I believe, 5 responses, chose to interview 3 firms, and have now selected H.J. Umbaugh to be our MA. Fifth Third Securities as an MA. When you are an MA, you cannot be an underwriter. It's a conflict of interest. So as they no longer will serve as MA, they're eligible to be an underwriter. My rationale for adding them to the pool at this time is because pretty much unanimously, as I asked the question of the interviewees, so what do I do with Fifth Third if they're not MA? And across the board, they said, well, they're excellent in underwriting. Quite frankly, is their primary business. And you would be remiss if you did not put them in your pool to be eligible to participate in future financings, not the current ones. I think that's pretty much it. Representatives from everyone is here tonight. Fifth Third is here tonight, and HJM are here tonight, should you choose to. Some of you may have met them before the meeting, but they're here if you have any questions that I can't answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any other questions from board members on any piece of legislation before us this evening in the consent agenda?
Just 8.1, Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted the administration to highlight 8.1. This is a partnership that we are entering into for purchase service agreement with COSI. Do we have, Mr. Superintendent, someone on hand?
Thank you, President Baker. Vice President Cole. We'll ask one of our curriculum directors, Cherie Wells, to speak to this item. Did you get lost this morning? Because I thought we got a call from you on the way to...
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Good, Treasurer Bohoric, and all of the members of the board, and Vice President Cole. Would you like for me to introduce? Is that what I'm doing? Okay. We are proud to announce a partnership that we've developed with COSI, the Center of Science and Industry, where our teachers over the summer, along with COSI staff, designed a tailor-made experience for our fifth grade students. As you are aware, our fifth grade students will participate and take the fifth grade science assessment in the spring. And as a district, we wanted to create an opportunity for our students that would provide a gap between our current resources and what we know about the new assessments. And so together, our team, along with COSI, developed a hands-on, inquiry-based opportunity where students will participate in 9 different labs, including a tailor-made planetarium exploration that specifically addresses the standards that we know our students will be assessed on. We are proud that COSI also gave an in-kind donation and also provided our students a discounted rate to provide this opportunity. So the regular admission rate is $10 for students. COSI, and within this partnership, has provided admission for $3.50. And we're very proud that 100%, we're waiting on 2 schools to confirm their date, but 100% of all of our schools have signed up to participate.
Mrs. Superintendent.
The board knows some of the dates our fifth graders will be visiting. It's well worth your time to experience the hand-on inquiry-based activities, and then the planetarium. For many, the first time they've seen the night sky.
Yes, from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock, and the dates you have in your packet. So we would love to have you.
Did you say 10 o'clock p.m. or
No,
10 o'clock a.m.?
until 1 o'clock. 10 o'clock a.m. until 1 o'clock is the experience for our students. It's not overnight.
Okay. I'm just checking.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank our superintendent, our administration, and the team for putting this type of program together in partnership with COSI. I also want to thank COSI as well. I had the opportunity to sit at the table with them, Mr. Tooney and several other staff, when there was discussion around the memorandum of understanding, the contract that we were looking to go into with them. I'm just very encouraged by this partnership that they provide for our students that enhances and enriches their experience. One of the another ways that this administration has knocked the ball out of the park for all of our students to have a grand opportunity. So again, I thank you so much. And if COSI, you're out there listening, I thank you as well.
Any other questions from board members? Questions or comments on legislation? Seeing none, Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Ms. Hudson?
Yes, except I abstain from 7.2 and 10.18.
Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
And President Baker.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Let's move now to Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. So the board just approved the removal of interim from 3 of our extraordinary administrators and titles. And as has been our past practice, we invite them to assume these greater roles. And it's both for them and for us an opportunity to see if it's been a good fit and a natural progression on their career trajectories. And so this evening, we were very pleased to recommend to you, and you have approved then, the removal of interim from our Supervisor of Customer Relations, Stephen Hoffman. Would you stand up? Very good. The removal of interim from our Extraordinary Director of Safety and Security. Can you stand, Chris Ward? And as you know, he's been particularly busy this year. That's not a good thing, but we feel in capable hands. And then last but not least, and you did receive, or you will receive, a copy of a letter from the State Department of Education congratulating us on being removed from a corrective action plan in special education far earlier than they anticipated. And we do credit, of course, the entire team under the leadership of our new Executive Director of Special Education and Student Support Services, Kathy Loeffler. And then on one final note, a sad note, at the end of the personnel consent agenda, you'll note that we lost one of our valued colleagues, a speech therapist, Martha Matusik, and so we grieve her loss and mourn with her family and extend our thoughts and prayers to them.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So to those three of you whose diligence and hard work has been recognized, congratulations. Continue to expect great things from you. You're excellent assets to the district. And obviously our thoughts do go out to the loss of a colleague. So let's now move on to Board of Education member announcements. The first thing I'll say is remind you of the ad hoc committee meeting on Thursday, 6 to 8:30 at Ames on the Fort Hays campus. It's an open meeting, so anyone is welcome to attend that who would like to. Any other board members have any announcements or any other points of pride that they would like to briefly share with the board? Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to be sure that I announced for any of the listening audience, particularly those of you who might be LEDEs, locally economic disadvantaged enterprises or small businesses that are looking for opportunities with Columbus City Schools, to participate March 4th between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. In the pre-solicitation event. This is an opportunity to meet, of course, our new director, Mr. DeJuan Hood, and his team. This is also in partnership with MBE Ohio, a local publication here that supports small business throughout the entire state. If you have not had an opportunity to grab one of these publications, please feel free to do so. This event is to take place, and I'm trying to see where.
You just say the date.
Well, we'll just save the date, March 4th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to call 365-5000, and you can get that information that way. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Any other points of pride or announcements from board members? Ms. Hudson, I believe you were next.
Thank you, President Baker. Two things. One, last week, Audit and Accountability met for the first time this year. I'm pleased the board members Cole and Vice President Cole and Board Member Brown will be joining in the excitement this year. But we had a very robust discussion, a draft of audit on the payroll system, and both our treasurer and our HR director participated in that. It was a very good discussion. Prior to the meeting, we also did have a meeting with the Auditor of State, and so probably within the next month or so, we will have the final report on our annual financial audit. So that went very well. Also, so we'll have good things to report. Next Thursday, the 11th, at 3:30, we will have, isn't it? Yeah. I can't believe it's February. So the 11th at 3:30, we will have our first Finance and Appropriations Committee meeting of the year. We will begin, believe it or not, the budget discussion. This will be, this will be a pretty fulsome discussion over several months. This one will be much more about the vision and kind of a 5-year look ahead planning budget, but that will start at 3:30 for anyone on board members, and also anyone of the public is invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. And Board Member Reyes?
Thank you, President Baker. So I was able to attend the 260th birthday for Mozart at Mozart's Bakery in Clintonville. But very excited to see that the young gentleman that plays Little Mozart, is a Columbus City School pianist. He's a middle school student, Alex Van Bieber, and he did an excellent job. He dressed up as Little Mozart and got on the piano and entertained about 100 people in the room. So that was kind of exciting, and he did it with grace and poise and got a nice little standing ovation. So very, very proud to be Columbus City Schools that day. And then kind of doing a save the date, our annual Children's Day Festival will be April 30th this year. So we are currently soon releasing the schools that will be participating, and we'll be looking for schools to come and join, and community partners. It's always a great event. We always have thousands of people coming to our events. And again, this is an opportunity for our children to display their talent, of what they defined as talent, and also an opportunity for our neighbors who don't necessarily attend Columbus City Schools to visit our buildings. So all are welcomed, and please contact our offices if you are looking to attend. We've had the Red Cross, we've had the Columbus SWAT team, which was a little bit scary to me, but they came, and we've had many Columbus Police Department, just different community partners that come in. Last year, we had some of our alumni organizations joining with some of our schools. So it's just an exciting day. Again, save the date for April 30th.
Thank you, Board Member Reyes. Yes, Ms. Gibbs.
Yes, so I have a question and then I have an announcement. Dr. Good and your team, can you give me an update on our lottery and our school fairs at the elementary, middle, and high?
I would have been disappointed had you not asked, so we are very much prepared. So parents, you are invited to discover your Columbus City Schools next Thursday, February 11th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And of course, Columbus City Schools, one of the hallmarks is parents have an opportunity to choose what they believe is the best pathway for success for their child based upon academic talent and interests. We have state-of-the-art technologies, STEM, health science academies, foreign language academies, single-gender schools, global international programming. I could go on and on. But the best place to see it all for elementary and middle school parents and their children will be at East High School next Thursday, February 11th, from 6 to 7:30. And there will be school choice applications available at that event. So school choice actually begins, it opens on March 1st, and you have a whole month to make your decision. So at the end of the month, the 31st, you need to have your forms in, and there will also be other people there you can talk to. So if you're interested in having a latchkey program available for your children, you need English as a second language services, early childhood, pre-kindergarten programs. We'll have student mentoring administrators there, special education, gifted and talented, PTAs will be there. It's a wonderful, wonderful festival, not to be missed event. What more can I tell you about this?
Can you just reiterate one more time for our viewing and listening audience, the deadline to have your application in for elementary and middle school lottery applications? The deadline.
The deadline. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the deadline is March 31st. Is that right, Dr. Klein? She's giving me a thumbs up.
Oh.
And so, but she doesn't have to walk all the way up here. If you need information, that number is 365-3228, or you can call the School Choice Lottery Division at 365-7459. And we post all of this information on the website. And now, of course, it's available on the web application or the mobile app as well. And but you really need to attend, even if you're just interested in all the Columbus City Schools offers.
Thank you for that. It's an awesome time. I wonder if the board could have a table, so if you want to sign up to serve on our Public Engagement Committee or our Board External Monitoring Committee, if there's an opportunity for us to have a table so those persons interested in getting involved in board committees as well, and maybe an update on some of our committees that are always looking for people to be involved. President Baker, if we could explore that idea, I think that'd be great.
So I saw the board services supervisor taking note, and we're happy to make that table available.
Yes, we too are always looking for good people. So just two more announcements. The Mu Iota chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated is sponsoring their annual talent hunt, and that means scholarship for seniors. It is coming up in March, and you can look on their website to find information on that program. And the Columbus Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated will sponsor a college tour over spring break specifically for young men. And this year they're going to Hampton, Howard, Virginia State, Virginia Union, and Virginia Commonwealth. And so it's a boys-only college tour that is going to take place over spring break, and you can look up those two organizations to find out. The talent hunt is open to boys and girls, and the college tour is just for young men. Also, the Innovation and Reform Committee will meet next Tuesday, February 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Columbus Downtown High School. That meeting is open to the general public if you would like to weigh in. We are going to focus on specialty and theme-based schools. So again, if you have any ideas around an idea you may have seen or some information or a reform that you think we should take up, always please give us a call about that. You've already mentioned our ad hoc committee. If you look on our website, there is a specific page. Board Member Peretti and I are working tirelessly to make sure our community dialogue meetings that are coming up will be on every side of town. And we're asking you again, and maybe that's definitely information we should have out at the fair so that you could come and attend and give us feedback on the great ideas we're thinking about and tell us and help inform our decision-making process around the best use of our facilities for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years and how they will take a role in our community. And finally, and absolutely not to be lastly, today, or this is our first meeting for Black History Month. And so 90 years ago, Carter G. Woodson had the idea to take a month to celebrate all the achievements of African Americans and what they have meant to this great country. And that was in 1926. It wasn't until 1954, 62 years ago, that the Brown versus Board of Ed decide that together we should learn about those in the same buildings, in the same chairs with equal opportunity. And in 2016, I'm proud to be a part of a Columbus School Board and a Columbus School District where each student is highly educated and prepared for leadership and service and empowered for success as a citizen in a global community. So very much Black history is a part of American history, and all of the works and the gains in these 90 years have all been just an amazing part of the fabric that we call America. So there are a number of activities in our district at the elementary, middle, and high school level. And there's something great about, especially elementary schools, they love seeing people in the audience. So if you want to come and hear or come and see some great works and some great programming and some great celebrations, please take time to tune in to see whether it's in your community or in your neighborhood. Our students are doing a very good job celebrating the achievements of Black Americans, and we would love, and I know, everyone to be a part of that. So very proud to be a Black woman on the school board, not just Black History Month, but every single day, and the gains and the strides that we do to make sure that everyone is treated with equity and equality in this district.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Mr. Brown?
Just very briefly, I did attend the fair that was held at Charity Newsies in Clintonville for elementary and middle schools in that part of town. And I was impressed, and I concur with everything you had to say about those fairs and that opportunity, a great opportunity to learn about all of those schools, to meet key people from those schools, and especially for me, as new to the board, I enjoyed it a great deal.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any other announcements? Director Johnson, how are you?
Good, thank you. President Baker, the State of the City address will be on February the 24th. This is Mayor Ginther's inaugural State of the City address. It's going to be held at Whetstone High School. As you know, Mayor Ginther is a proud graduate of Columbus City Schools and Whetstone High School. That event will start at 6:30 on February the 24th, and the public is invited. And to RSVP, you can dial 614-645-RSVP.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
I believe we have a number of students that are involved in that inaugural celebration as well, so I know the board will be delighted to attend.
Thank you. Well, I'll be there. Ms. Gibbs?
I'm sorry. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Miss Betty Hill. Was it Miss Betty who's responsible for, I had nothing to do with the fact that my amazing alma mater performed today to provide the musical rendition for our Black History Month celebration. And if you don't know Miss Betty Hill of our Unified Arts, she is amazing, and she has the ability to bring so many people together. So my point of pride is definitely seeing the Columbus Alternative High School ensemble today. If you're a COS alum, would you wave your hand? Okay. Yes, that amazing person that just presented. Yes, former principal, thank you. Again, I couldn't go back home to COS if I didn't say amazing job for them and all of our performing arts departments throughout this district. They are amazing. And also look up the school musical schedules, because Eastmore has a great one coming up too. They're doing the Wiz.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Last thing I'd like to say is the I Know I Can Blueprint College dates should be on the app. So if you're interested in that, those are great opportunities, so please do plan to attend. And if you haven't downloaded the app, please do. You can do it while you're sitting there. Anything else from, all right, Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's recommended the Board of Education recess into executive session per Ohio Revised Code to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, and to confer with legal counsel regarding preparation for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees, considering their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Second. Thank you. Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Treasurer, please.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Ms. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
President Baker?
Yes.
And Mr. Brown?
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you very much. The board will now recess into executive session. We will not return to this chamber this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good night.